Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at Eli Lilly and their impact on the diabetes market.
Sounds good.
Yeah. You guys sent in a ton of articles and research,
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
so we're going to try to break it all down for
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
I think most people listening probably know Eli Lilly is a big name,
For sure.
but the diabetes market it's complicated.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Right.
more complex than it might seem.
Right. And there's a lot of interesting things that we found out that I don't think a lot of people know.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you know that their newest diabetes drug is so popular that they're having trouble keeping up with demand?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Hmm.
And also we're going to explore how Eli Lilly may actually reshape the entire pharmaceutical landscape in the next few decades.
Totally.
Not just for diabetes, but for obesity too.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Eli Lilly's history because their journey really reflects the evolution of diabetes treatment in a lot of ways.
Right. So, okay, let's go back in time for a minute.
Okay.
Eli Lilly's been around forever.
Oh, yeah, for a long time.
Right. And they've got a huge range of different products. We're talking insulin like Humalog, Basaglar, medications like Trulicity and Jardiance.
Mm-hmm.
But then their newest drug, Mounjaro, that one seems to be the real star.
Absolutely. It's really interesting. Mounjaro is a dual GIP and GLP-1 receptor agonist.
Okay.
To understand why that's important, we kind of have to understand how these drugs work. So GLP-1 drugs, they mimic a hormone that helps your body regulate blood sugar.
Okay.
So think of them as giving your body's natural processes a boost.
Okay.
Now, Mounjaro, with its dual action, is essentially like a double whammy.
Oh, wow.
So it's targeting two different receptors at the same time, leading to even more blood sugar control.
Oh.
And we've seen some pretty amazing outcomes with this for patients.
So it's not even just about managing diabetes.
Right.
It's about achieving better control than we've ever had before.
Exactly.
Yeah. But what makes Mounjaro so different from Eli Lilly's other GLP-1 drug, Trulicity?
That's a really good question. It gets to the heart of Eli Lilly's strategy. So while Trulicity has been a good, steady performer for them,
Okay.
sales have actually been declining as Mounjaro's popularity has gone way up. This isn't just a coincidence, though.
Right.
Mounjaro's dual action mechanism, like we talked about, offers a lot more efficacy.
Okay.
But it's also about Eli Lilly's marketing.
Okay.
They've positioned Mounjaro as this premium cutting-edge treatment in a market that's really focused on outcomes and patient satisfaction.
So they're not just making effective drugs, they also know how to play the game.
Absolutely.
It's really fascinating. And speaking of market success, I've heard that there's been supply issues with Mounjaro
Yes.
and its weight management version, Zepbound.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. The demand has been so high that Eli Lilly is actually having trouble keeping up. It's a good problem to have in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But it really shows the challenges of bringing a truly groundbreaking drug to market.
Right.
Imagine this. Their sales for Mounjaro hit $3.1 billion.
Wow.
Just in the second quarter of 2024.
That's crazy.
Especially when you think about how they were anticipating this surge in demand already.
Wait, so they knew this was coming?
Yeah, they did. Based on the early research, Eli Lilly recognized tirzepatides, that's the name of the drug potential, and they started ramping up manufacturing back in 2020.
Wow.
Even before Mounjaro was approved.
So they were ready.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, that's some real foresight.
But Mounjaro isn't their only promising drug in development.
Right.
They've got a potential Alzheimer's treatment.
Yeah, they do. It's called donanemab.
Donanemab, okay.
It's in the pipeline, and they're even looking at once-a-week insulin.
Wow.
It seems like they're really trying to cover all their bases.
Yeah, they're not messing around. They're not. And that really points to their dedication to diversifying their portfolio. But it's important to note that even with these other ventures, their focus is on diabetes.
Okay.
And more, obesity.
Right.
It's a core part of their long-term strategy.
Right, because GLP-1 drugs are bringing in almost 40% of Eli Lilly's total revenue.
Exactly.
These drugs are going to be huge for them in the coming years. But what does this mean for the average person living with diabetes?
That is the key question. So on the one hand, the success of drugs like Mounjaro signals a potential paradigm shift in diabetes care. We're going beyond just managing the disease.
Right.
We're talking about achieving these unprecedented levels of control, potentially even preventing it altogether.
Wow.
But it does make you think about access and affordability.
Right.
These newer treatments, they come with a higher price tag, and that creates challenges for healthcare systems and patients.
So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, I'd say so. We had these great breakthroughs, but then we also have these potential barriers to access.
Right, so it seems like navigating the future of diabetes care requires a balance between innovation and affordability
Absolutely.
and making sure that these treatments are available to everyone who needs them.
Exactly. And that's something we need to think about as we go forward, as we delve deeper into Eli Lilly's journey and the broader trends in the diabetes market.
Okay, so we've laid some groundwork here,
Hmm.
but there's still a lot more to uncover. We have to talk about Eli Lilly's R&D pipeline, their financial health,
Yeah.
and of course, the competitive landscape that they're working in.
Totally.
So stick with us. We'll be right back.
Sounds good. It's interesting to think about the bigger picture here. What we're seeing with Eli Lilly, this focus on GLP-1 drugs,
Yeah.
especially those with the dual action,
Right.
it's a sign of things to come for the whole pharmaceutical landscape.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we're seeing a change from just treating diseases
Okay.
to actually preventing them. Imagine we're not just managing diabetes, we're stopping it from developing in the first place.
Wow, yeah.
Drugs like Mounjaro, with how good they are at preventing type 2 diabetes, it's a look into that future.
Yeah.
And Eli Lilly is actively shaping it.
Wow, that's a big idea.
Yeah, it is.
But if it works, it would totally change healthcare.
Absolutely. But no company is on its own.
Right.
Let's take a look at, the other companies out there, the competition.
Yeah, the competitive landscape.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of big players, each with their own goals.
Right, like Novo Nordisk, Sanofi, AstraZeneca.
Exactly.
They all want a piece of this market.
They do. And when it comes to insulin specifically, Eli Lilly is the king.
Okay.
Over 40% of the market share for insulin manufacturing.
Wow.
But in the GLP-1 market, they have some real competition,
Oh, yeah.
particularly from Novo Nordisk.
Right, with Ozempic and Wegovy.
Exactly.
Those are both from Novo Nordisk.
Yes, both based on semaglutide.
Yeah.
And they're giving Eli Lilly a run for their money.
Yeah, it seems like it.
So while Novo Nordisk has a bigger share of that market right now, a lot of people think Eli Lilly will catch up
Okay.
because of Mounjaro. And then there's the biosimilar insulins,
Right.
basically the generic versions of insulin products.
Okay.
That's really putting pressure on pricing. Companies like Eli Lilly have to find new ways to make their products stand out.
Right.
Like Biocon, for example. They're making insulin more affordable.
That's good.
So to stay on top in this market, you have to constantly be innovating.
Right.
Not just with new drugs, but with market strategy, too.
Right. You have to be smart about pricing, too.
Absolutely. So Eli Lilly can't just sit back.
Right.
They have to push the boundaries of what's possible, show why their products are unique, like the dual action of Mounjaro,
Okay.
but also make sure people can actually afford their treatments.
Right. So it's a tough balance to strike.
It is. It's a balancing act for sure.
Be profitable, but keep patients in mind, too.
Exactly.
It makes you think about how these things impact drug development and pricing strategies.
It really does. It's this whole ecosystem. But we can't forget about the elephant in the room,
Which is?
the obesity market.
Ah, yes, the obesity
Yeah,
market.
potential gold mine.
I mean, we touched on it earlier
We did.
with drugs like Zepbound.
Exactly. Eli Lilly wants to be a big player there, too.
Right, makes sense.
It does, because projections show the global obesity market could be worth $100 billion.
Wow.
That's massive, and Eli Lilly is in a great spot to take advantage of that.
So it's not just about treating diabetes anymore.
Right.
We're talking about a much wider shift
Yeah.
to address metabolic health as a whole.
Yeah, a more holistic view.
It's like we're watching a huge change happening right now.
You got it.
Yeah.
But this shift comes with its own challenges.
Right.
Regulations are complex. You have pricing regulations, issues with access to healthcare, and safety is always a concern.
Right.
Eli Lilly, or any company in this area really, has to be ready to deal with these things.
Right. It's a lot to handle. So let's break down these challenges a bit more. What specific regulatory issues are they dealing with?
Well, there's a growing healthcare costs, so there's a lot of attention on these big brand name medications.
Right.
Eli Lilly has to figure out how to be profitable, but also make sure people can afford their treatments.
Right. Because what's the point of a great new drug if nobody can afford it?
Exactly. And then there's access to healthcare, especially in low and middle income countries.
Yeah, that's a huge issue.
It is. Eli Lilly and their competitors are working on different ways to make their treatments available in these places.
Okay.
Like finding new pricing models, working with local organizations, pushing for policies that make medicines affordable and available.
So it sounds like they're trying to make a difference globally.
They are. It's not just about focusing on the most profitable markets.
Right. What about safety
Yeah.
with these new drugs like Mounjaro being so popular?
Yeah.
Are there any long-term effects that we should be worried about?
It's a really important question, and researchers are looking into it right now.
Okay.
GLP-1 drugs have been pretty well tolerated so far,
Okay.
but we don't have all the long-term data yet. Eli Lilly is committed to keeping track of any potential problems and being open about it.
Okay.
And so are the regulators around the world.
So it's like a constant process of like checking and rechecking.
It is. Drug development is a dynamic thing. As more and more people use these medications, we'll learn more about their safety and how well they work in the long run.
Right. It's a reminder that even with all this progress, we still have a lot to learn.
We do.
It shows how important research is
Yes.
and monitoring and communication between drug companies and doctors and patients.
Absolutely. And, talking about all this progress, there's one more trend we should discuss. The huge number of new obesity medications that are being developed.
Oh, yeah. Right.
It's not just Eli Lilly that sees the potential in the obesity market.
Right.
There are 124 obesity medications being developed right now across the whole industry.
124.
Wow.
That shows you where the future of pharmaceuticals is heading.
So that's a lot of competition for Eli Lilly.
It is.
But it also means that we're about to see a major change in how we think about weight management.
You got it. And this is happening all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
By 2031, they think that 41% of people with diabetes in the U.S. will be using GLP-1 drugs,
Wow.
and almost 25% of people with obesity who don't have diabetes.
Wow, okay.
And globally, it'll be about 7% for diabetics and 25% for people with obesity but not diabetes.
So this isn't just some small market.
No,
This is about to be a huge part of healthcare.
it is.
And Eli Lilly is right in the middle of it all, competing with the other big companies, dealing with all these regulations.
Yes.
And trying to make money while making sure their treatments are available.
You put it perfectly. It's a high-stakes game, and how it plays out will have a huge impact on millions of people.
Yeah.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's take a step back and look at how Eli Lilly is doing financially right now.
Okay, let's talk numbers.
We've heard about how much money they're making with Mounjaro and Zepbound,
Right.
but overall, are they in a good spot financially?
Yeah.
Can they keep being a leader in this market that's changing so quickly?
That's a great question, and it's one we're going to look at in detail in our last segment.
Okay.
We'll talk about their investments, their profits, and what their future looks like in this exciting but definitely challenging pharmaceutical landscape.
Okay, so we're back and ready to wrap up our look at Eli Lilly and all things diabetes.
Sounds good.
We've gone over their long history, the potential of Mounjaro, all the competitors they're up against, and that massive opportunity with the obesity market.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. Now let's zero in on their financials. I mean, they're bringing in billions,
Oh, yeah.
but are they managing it all well?
That's the question, right? And I think the answer is yes. Eli Lilly isn't just thinking about today, they're thinking about the future. Investing in research and development, getting their manufacturing ready for that huge demand we talked about, and they're even giving back to shareholders.
Hold on, so they're not just keeping all those Mounjaro profits to themselves?
Nope. They've actually been increasing their dividends every year since 2014,
Wow.
which shows they really believe in their long-term growth. They're confident they can handle whatever comes next and be even stronger because of it.
So it's not just about making those blockbuster drugs.
Right.
It's about running the business well and making sure their success lasts.
Exactly.
Okay, let's take a minute to recap. What are the big takeaways from our Eli Lilly deep dive?
Well, the first one is pretty clear. Eli Lilly is the top dog in the insulin market.
Right.
And they're not going anywhere. They have so much experience, resources. They're constantly researching and developing new things.
Right. They're staying ahead of the game.
Absolutely. But it's not all about insulin anymore.
Right. Things are changing.
Exactly. And that brings us to the second takeaway. Mounjaro is changing the game. It's already a huge success, but more than that, it shows how diabetes care is evolving.
Right.
It's moving towards preventing diabetes, not just managing it.
And that leads us to the third takeaway. Eli Lilly is going all in on the obesity market.
For sure. With drugs like Zepbound, they're going to be a leader in this area. It could totally change how we think about weight and metabolic health.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
They're not just following trends, they're creating them.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the most important thing we've talked about today. Eli Lilly isn't just riding the wave.
Right.
They're the ones paddling the boat, steering towards a future where we can prevent these chronic diseases, not just treat them.
Wow, that's powerful. But we talked about it earlier. It's not going to be easy.
It's not. There are regulations, pricing concerns, making sure everyone can access these treatments.
Right, and they have to stay ahead of all those competitors.
They do. It's a big challenge with a lot at stake, but the potential rewards are huge. What Eli Lilly does in the next few years will affect not just their own success, but the health of millions of people.
It's a good reminder that the pharmaceutical industry isn't just about making money. It's about people's lives, their hopes for a healthy future, and how science can make those hopes a reality.
Well said. As we wrap up our deep dive, I encourage everyone to keep learning about this, stay up to date on the latest developments, and really think about what the future of healthcare looks like.
Right, because ultimately, it's all of us, our understanding and participation that shapes the world we live in.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep on learning.